Right. To continue the session, last thing we stopped was what is evidence. We said that evidence is proof, or it's something that shows an indication that something is true. When we talk about evidence, we have types of evidences. Okay? When historians, remember last session we said that when historians study the events, they ask themselves questions. When they ask these questions, they need to find out answers. How do they get the answers? Through evidence. Type evidence or resources. We have two types of resources, primary and secondary. To start with primary resources from the word, they are original material written or created at the time of the event. For example, if we found a letter that was written by a soldier during the time of World War I, this is considered as a primary resource. It's a resource or a material that was created at the time of the event. For example, the Mona Lisa is considered as a primary resource because it was drawn at the time of the Renaissance by Da Vinci. A piece of pottery from ancient Greece. If you found a piece of pottery or an artifact that was made during the time of ancient Greece, this is considered as a primary resource. So the first type of resource or evidence, primary resource, is it clear for all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
The second type is secondary resource. We take the primary resource, whether it's the letter or the piece of artifact or the painting, and we study it. We analyze it. After we analyze it, we write the information about it. This is known as secondary resource. All the encyclopedias, all the biographies are considered as secondary resource. It's not created at the time of the event, but we take the primary resource from the time of the event, we analyze it, we study it, and then we write the information. The main point or the main important point you need to know about a secondary resource is that it does not involve any personal opinion. For example, a biography of Anne Frank. You took Anne Frank last year, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you all remember Anne Frank?
أيوة.
Yes.
Her biography is considered as a secondary resource. Someone read all the information, read her journals, read everything about this time frame between the Nazis and the Jews, and wrote a book about Anne Frank. This is considered as a secondary resource. Do you get it?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you get the difference between primary and secondary?
Yes.
When you put primary and secondary the way it is, they're considered as reliable source. What do I mean by reliable?
اللي تبقى correct يعني.
information.
Correct. Close بس not.
يعني ما فيهاش غلطة يعني نثق فيها يعني.
أيوة يعني you can count on it. Reliable means you can count on it. It's correct. It's true. It happened. And most importantly, that it does not contain any point of views. Okay? If you read Anne Frank's journal and you write a biography, you're supposed to list things the way it happened. You're not allowed to say your opinion whether this was right or wrong, whether the Jews deserve this or not, because this is your personal opinion. Okay, so once you add your point of view to reliable resources, they do not become reliable anymore. Instead, they become biased. Biased means unreasoned emotional judgment. Imagine if you read two books about the same time frame, which is the time frame of the Nazis and the Jews and the concentration camps. But one book was written by a German writer. The other book was written by a Jew, and they both talk about the same time frame. Okay, they're not resources, they are books, normal books. Do you think they will say things the same? Yeah, do you think they're gonna be the same opinions about this time frame?
لا.
Why?
No.
No.
هو
Because
كل
it's biased.
ايه هو اللي
كل واحد بقى
biased؟
بيكتب بالاوبينيون بتاعه.
ما how are their opinions different? ايه الفرق
على
بين
حسب بقى
التو؟
ده شايف ايه صح وده شايف ايه صح.
Which is who would the Nazi support and who would the Jew support? Grade 11.
Not I support النازي والجو support الجو.
Oh wow, برافو. طيب.
أقول لك إيه طيب بس.
Yes, it's a stupid answer. I'm waiting for you to answer so I can make sure that you're following. If you read the book with the German writer, the book will obviously support all the actions of the Nazis. They will blame the Jews for everything. This is their point of view. If you read the book written by the Jew writer, he will support and sympathize with the Jews and Anne Frank, and he will condemn, or he will say that the Nazis were extremists and they were not supposed to do this. It's the same time frame, it's the same period, but the problem is these books are biased. Each one of them has their point of view. That's why if you need to collect true information, you need to go to reliable resources, which are the primary and the secondary. Either things that happened or were created at the same time, or encyclopedias that do not contain point of views. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, when historians use the primary and secondary resources, they ask themselves many questions. If you're studying the time frame of World War I, and you need to collect information using the primary and secondary resources, you will ask yourself these questions. What happened? When did it happen? Why did it happen? Oh, I forgot to add where did it happen? And when this event happened, why is it important to understand? Okay? So if you're investigating any event, if you're studying any time frame, if you're carrying out any research, you need to ask yourself these questions. So far, is there anything hard to understand?
No.
No.
Okay. This is point of view. We discussed point of view. This is the definition. Okay, it includes different resources. Now, we remember when we said that you are not allowed to state your point of view in the resources because this will be considered as biased, right?
Yes.
Okay, when are you allowed to say your opinion? You can only say your opinion in a research. You will carry out a research about Anne Frank, the Nazis, and the Jews. What you do is you choose the topic. This is our topic. You start developing the questions. Which questions? These questions. What happened? When? Why? And where? After you write down the questions, you go to your materials, the primary and the secondary resources. You collect the information, you write down your notes, you answer the questions, and then you make the conclusion. You read the information, you have the whole idea in front of you. In a research, you write introduction, body, and conclusion. In the conclusion, you are allowed to state your opinion. So, you read the primary resources, you read the secondary resources, you wrote down your questions, you wrote down the answers to the questions, you have a complete idea about your topic, you start writing down your research. In the research introduction, you include a general idea that it was the time frame of these years, it was the war between this and that. You just start generally. In the body, you list all the information that you got from the primary and the secondary resources without any personal opinion. Clear?
clear.
In the conclusion, you include your opinion. What do you think? Was this right? Was this wrong? Was this supposed to be done? And this is how you state your point of view. This is the only place where you're allowed to put your point of view in a research. After you're done with your point of view, you should include another separate page, which is called...
بس معلش عندي سؤال. هو احنا اللي هنعمل ريسيرش ده؟
This is an example of number 1, how to make a correct research. Number 2, how to include your opinion when it comes to secondary and primary resources. And number 3, to answer your questions, yes, this is next week's, yeah, next weekend assignment. Did you take any assignment this weekend?
لا ما فكرت.
From you ولا
مرة واحدة research.
No, from me, my subject. Remember I told you you're gonna have weekly assignments?
طب حضرتك ادينا homework عادي مثلا شيت وكده لكن مش
I don't hear the answer to my question.
يا مس أقول حاجة؟ ممكن أقول
لا,
حاجة؟
do not, because I'm gonna mute you all. This is me explaining the lesson.
طب only one thing والله I will say.
No. Going back to the lesson, Ya Abdurrahman, you should include after your research an empty page that states only the credentials, the pages or the URLs of the pages that you have visited, the books you have read, the websites that you use, any other primary or secondary resource that you use, you post it, whether it's a name, a title, or a website. Just so you know, if you found .gov, it means that this site is related to the government. .edu, this site is related to any educational facility. .org, this is a business, profit or non-profit organization. Is it clear? You are not supposed to be biased. Even if you're stating your opinion, you can state your opinion, but you're not allowed to copy and paste, which is what you always do. You're not allowed to copy and paste lines from websites, lines from books, without quoting them. And if you need to copy a certain paragraph from a website that's talking about NSYNC, after you copy it, you're supposed to put your quotation marks, and when you include the reference sheet or the credentials sheet, you're supposed to list or copy the website or the title of the book if it's a book. Is it clear? Grade 11.
Yes, Mrs. Clear.
مس بس أنا ماشي. طب مس هي يعني البرزنتيشن دي هتنزل على إيه علشان نعرف هنعمل إيه برضه؟
This presentation, you will find it in a couple of minutes, hopefully, if the internet is okay, on the SMS. The same place, you will find the folder. I think it's already there. Yes, I did. I downloaded it on Sunday. You will find it on a folder that's called PowerPoint. By Wednesday, you will find another file in the folder that says assignments. I will post on the school's group or page, and I will tag a couple of you, whoever shows up on my tag list, with the assignment. Okay, it's probably a couple of questions on primary and secondary, and I will assign certain topics for your research. But you have to follow the same rules, which is you do not copy and paste. If you copy and paste, you're supposed to include the names, the URLs, or the titles of the book. Is this part of the lesson okay? Is it understood? This is the whole first lesson.
Yes.
Is it clear for all of you?
Yes.
Do you have any questions concerning the explanation, not the assignments?
No.
Okay then. I will see you tomorrow.
طب مس هو ده هيتسلم امتى؟
بس ده خلصنا كده خلاص.
Yes, this is the little part of today, and then tomorrow we'll start with the new lesson.
اوكي مش بقى ممكن بس ندسكس الاسايمنتس علينا وكده عشان نفهم.
هنقول حاجة والله واحدة
No,
بس.
there's nothing to discuss because the assignment isn't uploaded yet. You will find.
لسه
ايوه
عملت
ما عملناش
أيوة
المادة
ويا
احنا نازل.
يا جماعة اسكتوا يا جماعة اسكتوا. احنا ونور
جماعة،
ان هي لسه ما
This includes
نزلتش.
you. Okay?
يا جماعة
You will find
ايه
assignment on the
ما احنا
SMS.
هنقول حاجة عشان
No,
قبل ما
no, 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 no.
تنزل.
No. You will find the assignment on SMS. The
يا
assignment.
لسه علينا امتحان.
يا مس احنا مش موافقين على الاسايمنت، احنا بنعمل اسايمنت عادي بس هنقول حاجة.
مش بعد اذنك لازم تسمعينا.
ما على فكره هي مستنياكوا تتكلموا. يلا
ايه ده؟ اتكلم يا مس ولا لا؟
Someone other than Jannah.
ايه؟ اقول؟
Other than Jannah.
يلا يا جنة.
ما تخلصينا بقى.
اي حد غير جنة.
شكرا يا مس.
Welcome.
مش احنا
ايه
عندنا
الاحوال ده؟
امتحان كمان كام يوم.
Yes, and
معرفش
ايه ده؟
عارف
قلت بطريقة
where is the
غبية.
problem برضو? You're not familiar with
عندنا امتحان
research?
ايه؟
ماشي, you're not
يا
familiar
مس
with
احنا بس
research?
عشان الامتحان ده
يا جماعة حد واحد يتكلم.
ما لحقناش
جنة
نتجهز
تسكتي اصلا بس
كويس،
مش عايزاك تتكلمي.
فاحنا عايزين الوقت يبقى فاضي ليه.
It's gonna take only 30 minutes. If you cannot spare me 30 minutes.
لو طب مثلا هو
المهم
مثلا
ماشي يا مس خلاص. لا يا جماعه لو بسيط خلاص، لو
خلاص
يعني لو هو ايزي خلاص.
هو الريسيرش بيبقى قد ايه مثلا؟ يعني حاجه كبيره ولا حاجه صغيره يعني؟
A research is a passage of introduction, body, and conclusion. You
صفحه
can't
واحده
do that.
بجد؟ طب ايه يا جماعه
خلاص يا
متضايقين
جماعة حاجة بسيطة.
انتوا اوفر قوي.
انا استحمل يا جنة.
والله انتوا
Okay.
كلكم
So,
بتستهبلوا.
going back, as soon as I post the assignment on the SMS, I will write down a post on the group, the school's group. I will tag some of you, whoever shows up, and you
انا بس.
pass on the word. I will not tag Jannah.
يا مس في ايه؟
Okay?
ثانك يو مس منى.
You're welcome. And the deadline of the submission, remember, it's Saturday night, not later than
This
Saturday.
Saturday؟
لا إله إلا الله.
حلو قوي
انا
الكلام
قلت
ده.
next
الجاي.
week.
لا يا مس اتفضلي يا مس اتفضلي
We're
اسكتوا يا
talking
جدعان.
about the weekend. يعني you have from tomorrow until Saturday night.
Okay.
Okay?
جميل.
Yes. I'll see you tomorrow.
باي يا عمري.
Bye.
السلام عليكم.
Good night.
Good night.
السلام عليكم.
Good night ايه؟